slightly earlier time between 6 and 7 this evening. I am so glad to have your participation and incorporation in our shows live. So do connect via the phone line directly to our studio, which is 01733 602 133, or alternatively connect on our WhatsApp directly, which is 07745 278 978. Now, we have an amazing individual today. She's not only an individual who's taken my heart personally as my younger sister, but she's also an individual who's turned her life around from the darkness of taking or ending her life in the mid to late 20s to becoming an inspiration, a true titan in the world training arena, understanding education, having spoken to thousands on the planet, having a philosophy that people follow to bring them through to their optimum mindset and perform at their best of potential. She is nothing more, nothing less than, I think, a miracle who keeps herself in a complete focus with her life. Sometimes we all have these journey moments, don't we, when we veer off our roads. But the key here is to have the understanding and the belief and awareness in that real-time moment to be able to bring yourself straight back together on path and instill within others as well, not just yourself. I am not talking about anybody else besides my dearest sister. Her name is Manmeet Chowdhry. She is somebody who's become I think we've become so close over the last period of, I think, the last 3 years. She's become an individual who is a true aspiration to be around, somebody who's absolutely creating changes, touching the vibration of inner self with every human being that she touches. She's there for you. She always connects with you. So from an individual, for myself, my humble brother, older than her, I'd like to welcome Manmeet Chowdhry to the show.
Hi, Sukhi. Thank you very much.
Oh, Manmeet, you sound amazing. You know, you seem very, very emotional about the fact that my introduction was coming straight from my heart.
Yes.
But that's life, eh?
Absolutely.
If you're watching via Facebook Live, we're going to say a quick hi. And if you're watching us via YouTube Live, all it is via the Salaam Radio YouTube Live and also the Salaam Radio Facebook Live. This is quite a lively show. We really get nitty-gritty. The focus we've got is always around the empowerment of self. I'm bringing into this vein individuals just like Manmeet who have had diversities and adversities in their life. They've had challenges, but they've stood back on their feet, and more importantly, they've become a world order. Individuals who have stood themselves in front of stages. She's spoken in front of hundreds of individuals, and I'm sure many of us who are thinking, oops, I wouldn't like to do that. It does happen, and this is exactly the truth. She's actually honed her message to such a beautiful level where she touches your inner vibration and your inner nerves for you to understand your true value and potential and optimizing your whole mindset with an optimum focus. So before we continue, Manmeet, welcome once again.
Thank you so much. I'm really humbled that you've invited me on the show, and just to get another chance to share the message with so many other viewers and listeners is another opportunity which I'm really humbled to have. Thank you.
Oh, wow. So I am not going to let our viewers down, but more importantly, Manmeet, we want to ensure that your message is clear and tidy for everybody to listen. Everybody knows the drill. Please get on to Empower Hour on Salaam Radio, the Facebook show, if you would like to get in connection and touch and ask any questions. Because trust me, having this entity here in this room with us is going to be really powerful. So, going back into focus. Manmeet, how does an individual really touch other people's hearts? Because it's been an amazing conversation and journey for yourself. I'm going to get nitty-gritty a bit later as well. Yeah, everybody knows the drill. The first half is all about you. So how does an individual, tell us a little bit about your background, if you don't mind. You know, where are you from? You know, where was your journey up until now?
So my background in terms of where I'm from, so I'm born and brought up and bred in London, a place called Edgware. and been there all my life, all 37 years of my life.
37, you little liar. I don't believe you.
I am 37.
I was thinking
She's
she's going to
younger.
I thought she was going to turn around and say to me, actually, do you know what? About 3-4 years ago, I had a little blip in my life, and I'm just about to turn 30 if max. Well done to you.
Thank you. No, 37. And I've lived there all my life. My background is I'm a spiritual being, as you know, and but from the background of the Sikh religion.
Mm-hmm.
And I have siblings and a lovely mother and father. My siblings, the one that is single, just older than me, some of you may know him by the name of Paul Chowdhry.
No! Are you serious? Paul Chowdhry, the comedian?
Yes.
And
yes.
he is your older brother?
He's my older brother.
Oh, wow. What an amazing brother. That he's so lucky that he's got such an exciting celebrity sister.
Yeah, so he's the lucky one, of course.
Of course!
It's all that.
Come on, you know that, Paul.
But yes, it's actually really interesting. I think I'll just go on a slight little tangent there. I was just speaking to the station manager before we got live as well. It's very interesting because he does comedy. I help people with emotions. And we both get the same testimonials, interestingly enough.
Oh, wow.
We have the same results. People are overcoming certain ways. He makes them laugh, I make them cry. So my mum says both my children are healing other people in their own way. So
God bless.
Yeah.
And I truly understand that, because with all emotion comes that yin and yang approach, which is that positive and that negative feeling. Is that correct?
Mm-hmm.
A lot of our Inspired Tribe, they're quite healed in this thought process. I mean, we've been doing this show. I've been doing this show for the best part of nearly 6 months. So people have really got to understand how we, on a weekly basis, how we add to people's lives. So would you mind if, Manmeet, if we took a slight dive into the background? Because
Sure.
I really love, and I know we haven't really planned this, but there's a lot of stuff that we talk specifically about there. So if it's something you do not want to talk about, please tell me.
Oh no, absolutely. Let's just go with the flow. You ask me, and I'm open to sharing whatever you need.
Well, that's amazing. Okay, so let's go back a second. I mean, you've come from a nuclear family. There's yourself, there's your brother, mum and dad, right?
Yeah, and also an elder brother and an elder sister. There's 4 of us.
There's 4 of you in total?
Yeah.
Wow, that's amazing. So you've come from around the Edgware area and stuff of that sort of nature?
Yeah.
Got it. So how was life as a student, as a school person? How was that?
Growing up, actually in my era it wasn't too bad. In terms of there wasn't a lot of people have experienced a lot of racism and things like that. I have to say I didn't really experience a lot of that. I actually went to school in Southall.
Southall!
Yes.
Yeah. Southall massive, that's for you, Jatinda, and everybody else is on the team there.
I went there because my mum and dad, they had a cafe. So as far, from I think even my nursery, I remember my nursery being opposite. We had a cafe and my nursery was opposite. It was on Green Street. And then I went to Featherstone High School. Featherstone First School. And then when it came to high school, I came back towards Edgware area. So, growing up, I was obviously around a lot of Indian and Asian people.
Yes.
I didn't really, feel like, there's not enough of us around, or, feel that homely kind of feeling. So that's where I grew up, and that's where I had my education. And then when I came towards Edgware, again, back to schooling, it was probably about 6 or 7 years later, I think my mum and dad gave the cafe up, but they were really well known. So they were an avid part of community, which always helps individuals, like I would say my father as well, and my mother as well. So both of them as a couple were the fabric of community. Absolutely.
And that gave us that little leg up into being communitized and known. Yeah.
Absolutely. And we were an avid part of the community for, the local Sikhs as well. I did quite a bit of charity work with them. We started off in a porter cabin, our Gurdwara, and then we basically transformed it and have a building standing up, called Brent Sikh Centre. So I've grown up with that Gurdwara, all my life. I remember...
Hence the spiritual.
Absolutely, yeah. I remember that one of the people who really ran the Gurdwara, I said to him, when we have this building up, mine will be the first wedding. And now he says, okay, this building's been up for how many years now? We're still waiting for yours.
Oh no, you're still single. You can't do that.
Yeah,
so,
we're a big part of the community. And I when people ask me, about me, I just say I'm actually quite traditional. I'm quite desi, in my ways. I love...
In a proud way.
Yes. And I love, like, my Indian heritage, if you would call it that. It's like I love the Bollywood films, the dancing, the Bhangra, and all of that. So that's been a big part of my growing up and a big part of my life, and still is. If I go too many months without watching a film or something, I feel like
you get the jitters.
I'm like, mum and I go on date nights, we go and watch films and stuff like that. So
brilliant. This is a heavenly conversation to have with yourself, because the reality is that I truly understand the journey that you've had. Is it okay if we just delve a bit more into helping others, because this is the Empower Hour. We really put a lot of love and effort into this, but every one of our guests, including yourself, they really have a heart-centric view to life. Now, heart-centric, God-centric, principally the same. A lot of our audience are very much in the spiritual understanding. They understand the religious understandings. They understand the possibility of God being seen and deemed as a spiritual entity as well. So, an absolute understanding. And this goes out as far as Canada, Americas, Africa, and over into repatriation of the eastern areas as well. In a very humble way, because we have a long, strong following with Sukhi Wahiwala and Manmeet. So I just want to go, if it's possible, because there's one thing that was kind of, you could say, semi-disturbing, I suppose, with your bio when I was going through it with yourself. How can somebody so jovial and so loving, so heart-centered today have had a dark moment? Because I don't know whether anybody's read your bio, but I would like to share a little bit about yourself. And you had actually a time when you had a contemplation, which was, and the reason why we're talking about this on live on air is because it helps other people to get themselves clear. And the toughness and the strength and the inner acceptance that you've already achieved is, I think, something that you have a lifelong mission to share with other people as well.
Yes, yeah. I've had it as a mission, but it's only more recently I've come out with sharing how dark of a place I was in.
God bless you.
In that hope that it does inspire people that are either there, or have been there, or, are thinking of it, or anything like that, I think. And it takes a lot, first of all, to even be that vulnerable, to share. But just knowing that vulnerability is not about me, it's about what can it do for other people. Beautiful. Allows me to share.
We have a lovely saying, and I think once upon a time when we worked together as well in the past, we mentioned this before, that sometimes we're chosen. Sometimes we know we're chosen to endure darkness and pain, so that we could shine through it and help others who are having that same process. So
absolutely.
If I could be very specific about this, and it was a very dark time of your life, and I'm going to hawk back to probably around about the mid-20s, I think it was, when you'd even contemplated taking your own life. Now, please understand, anybody who's listening, this is not an impregnant conversation saying people go and think about like this. But if you've ever had those dark thoughts, this is the interview for you. Please do listen. Manmeet is a master at this healing process because she's done it for herself. So what kind of happened? What happened? What led to this? If you're okay to talk about it.
Yeah. Well, I specifically remember one night there's nobody at home but me, and I share this as one other. And the one other was none other than a picture of Guru Nanak Dev Ji.
Guru Nanak Dev Ji, just for your reference, is the founder of the Sikh faith. So thank you.
Yeah. And, it was that moment that I felt like that picture that night was so real for me that I felt he was sitting right there in front of me.
Wow.
And I had a lot of complaints. So I aired them.
Oh, wow.
And
so you felt such a connection that you could have just...
Yeah, and it was very much why me? Why have you chosen me to give all of this pain to? Why have you, turned my whole life upside down? I had a great life, I was earning great. I was, at the top of my game in what I was doing. I had the lifestyle, the car, and everything, and just like that, it was gone. Wow. So I had a lot of complaints. And, it was at that moment I just could not, sometimes we say we know that within every darkness there's the equal amount of lightness, but for me, I just could not see it. I couldn't see it at all.
Well, I was going to say, sorry to stop you there, but that's, we understand after an enlightenment within oneself, but otherwise it doesn't seem like that in that moment.
No,
and
in the
you're
moment.
So right.
Yeah, absolutely. I just there was nothing that was gonna, even if people were coming to kind of shake me and say, hey, but you know what, because on the outside it looked like my life's okay, but for me, you're the one living it inside. You feel like you're dying. So for me, I was like, I think everybody else has got an amazing life but me. I'd also tried to do positive thinking for quite a long time, and I just felt like it wasn't working for me because everybody else was getting it but me, know. And it wasn't something that I was able to kind of, continuously do, which now I understand why, but I wasn't able to do that back then. And so I thought the better option is...
So basically individuals who are out there who have a challenge with trying to keep themselves in a positive thinking vibe, you're going to give them a bit of a solution later.
Yeah.
And we definitely will do that. So just remember, this is about Manmeet sharing her real journey. So please understand this can be quite a touching moment, but we're hoping, between brother and sister here, that we're hoping that one person is listening whose life is going to change tonight, and this is what the Empower Hour with myself, Sukhi Wahiwala, is all about. So back to yourself, Manmeet. So what were the thoughts that were going through your mind that you managed to reframe?
Well, the thought, first of all, the thought was, should I take some tablets? Should I drive my car into a wall? I was thinking about how to do it, and I
how to end your life,
my life. Yeah, how do I do it? There's so many other ways, but
God bless.
It was just something inside me in that moment was just like, okay, is there anything else that I can do? And a very good friend of mine happened to ring me, and told me that I needed to go to hear somebody speak, and obviously I was not in the space I wanted to hear it. You kind of think you've heard it all before, and there's nothing that's going to help you now,
of course,
but he managed to twist my arms in more than and he called me from South Africa, but and I still I'm very grateful to him, because for me in that moment he was somebody that was sent. If
you understand, everybody who's listening, sent from the divine, the environment, the universe, and obviously by your good deed.
Absolutely.
And maybe the person that you were sharing it with, the image, the picture, obviously then recreated this connection, whether it's Guru Nanak or whether it's the Prophet Muhammad, peace be upon him as well. So whichever the principal understanding is what was happening there. So just want to clarify for our listeners, it's a very important topic, and it's very, very important to clarify. If you're feeling those dark moments that we're just describing now, this episode is not about being dark and being stuck there. This is about showing you that there is light at the end of the tunnel. There is always somebody. Now, may it be that the friend that called you from South Africa to get you out, maybe this show is the same show that's getting you out of your darkness today, tonight, and I hope from here onwards as well. Back to you, Manmeet. Sorry.
Yeah, absolutely. So for me, he was, somebody, and his name is Dizzy Taylor, so I'd love to just mention his name.
Well, God bless you, Dizzy.
And then I went to see who now is a very dear mentor and teacher of mine, Dr. John D. Martini. And that was, I felt like the moment I sat, I was sitting there with my crossed arm thinking, what is this man going to tell me? Yeah, I was like, he's not going to tell me anything I don't know already. So in a very negative mindset, to be honest.
Which is expected. That's a natural space to be, right?
Absolutely. I think you get to nothing is going to work for me, no matter what it is. But I think out of respect for Dizzy, I did go as well.
Bless you.
I think I almost went in this like self-righteous, I'll go and show you that it doesn't work.
I'll prove you wrong. Well, good for you in that context. At least you got up and decided to put somebody else's wrong. Prove them wrong. That's fine.
I went, and actually a very good friend of mine, Vinnie Palmer, was the person who really helped me in my journey to make sure that we went there, we listened, and what I heard that night, for me, it was... And I get tears because it was one man, one message that one night just changed. I felt the yearning to want to know more. And the wanting to know more was that maybe this isn't time right now.
Wow. So just to clarify, when you called out to the entity or an entity, whether it's in the visualization of Sri Guru Nanak Dev Ji, the founder of the Sikh faith, and then we turn around and find that all of a sudden individuals start to turn up in your world, who start to pull you out of this darkness, and they start saying, hang on, I need you to come over here with me. And then for another person to turn around and say, right, I'm going to make sure you get there, we're going to turn up there together. And then the international amazing entity, Dr. D. Martini, also who has studied Guru Nanak as well and made it very publicly, openly, that mean. So you could see there's a massive link there to the Gurus as it is. So God bless you. So moving on.
Yeah, so he basically the way he spoke, and he did actually, speak of, as you said, Guru Nanak Dev Ji. He studied so many ologies, and I found what he had to say very interesting but very real. One of the key kind of quotes that stuck with me from that evening was, if you're trying to obtain a one-sided life, that is a life of ease, you're missing out on life. And you're never going to get a one-sided magnet, so don't expect a one-sided life.
How amazing is that? So you're suggesting and you're telling everybody, it's a beautiful message for everybody to take away with them, that with life's happinesses must come a little bit of pain as well, to hold that balance. Is that right?
Yeah, it's the equal amount.
Yeah.
It's actually the fact that we're just not aware of the whole balance that's already always there, present. It's that magnet analogy gets me every time, because you can't argue with it, right? It's like you try and cut that magnet in half, you're going to have both sides again, and you try and cut it in half again, you're still going to get both poles. So if you can't have that one-sided magnet, how can we expect a one-sided life?
That's truly inspiring. I'm not sure if anyone's listening and hearing. Get involved. Do ask questions on the Empower Salaam Radio FB Facebook Live. This is a really beautiful topic, and most importantly, it's come from a very humble, warm place, and I thank you for that, Manmeet, for sharing from a very dear place and opening up your vulnerability, because you are very much a go-to person these days for assisting individuals moving forward. So just to move on, so you've ended up with an understanding, or one of the key, what you call optimum shifts, don't you?
Yeah.
Optimum shifts that happened in your mind at that particular moment was the sheer fact that you created an awareness that with every pain or with every gain comes a pain, and that inner balance of with all faiths, Islam, Christianity, Judaism, Buddhism, Sikhism, Hinduism, all of them state that you must have equal balance as well. And this is just the beautiful part of life.
Yeah,
so thank you.
Absolutely. So I went on with my journey from there, all on a quest, basically. What's life really about? What really drives humans? What's the human behavior all about? And I studied. I was in full-time work, but I just studied and learned a lot more to do with human behavior. And then eventually, fast forward many years. Actually, sorry, I'll just take you back to when I was learning about human behavior. I had no idea that there was a mind-body connection.
Mind and body.
Yeah. So the first time that I actually went to Dr. D. Martini's course, I actually couldn't walk.
Oh my goodness.
I was on crutches.
So you were on crutches at this event, and that was at the low point in your life, right?
Yep. And my friend Vinny, even when I said, "Oh, you know what? Let's not go because I can't make it. I won't be able to sit." He was the one that held my hand, and he said, "Look, I'm driving us in, and we're going to park there as close as we can to the hotel, and I'm going to make sure that you sit there and do that." And actually, you mentioned Jatinder. He was there with me, also sitting there, and saw this transformation for me, because I didn't realize that when you balance your perceptions about certain things in your life, how much of an effect they have on you on a cellular level. I had no idea. So both Jatinder and Vinny were there with me, and when they saw that, just basically the transformation of me, I walked out on the second day of the course, a 2-day course, I was able to walk.
Wow.
And that was truly transformational for me. And that was the day I made a decision that I was going to help other people. I didn't know how. I just knew I was going to do it.
Now that's the determination that we need to ignite in ourselves. Now that truly is a magical story. So if anybody's listening, this is the Empower Hour with Manmeet Chowdhry. So she's specifically, or Chowdhry as you would explain it in an easier way to explain. So we're going to be back in a moment. We're just going to take a break very shortly for a 4-minute advert block, and then we're going to be back straight again at 6:30. That's sharp 6:30. You need to tune back in and understand and see how an individual who's seen the darkness of ending one's life has turned around to become a beacon of light for others in a 2-day training that she can deliver herself in a very different format. Thank you very much. See you soon. Tune back in at 6:30.
Stay tuned to Salaam Radio after this short ad break.
It does not take much to bring some difference. You give some change, which makes a change, because nothing gets mileage like a charity. Just a little change turns into a chain, and before we know it, the results are massive. So give a little to make a big difference. To give donations, call UKIM on 0207 387 2157.
दोस्ता की ये परेशानी
जरा कर है ना सारा सौदा मुक्या वा मुल्का विच पैसे भेजने
हूं नहीं मार फूड वाले की फोन करका ते फ्री लोकल डिलीवरी कार मंगवा
आला ता उठा का स्पेशल आ
उन्हें की लबाई हाइजीनिक ग्रेड 5 चीजें चंगियां म्यारी ते सस्तियां ते नाले ऑफर ही ऑफर
और क्या
ताजा गोश्त ताजी सब्जियां ते फ्रूट आटा चावल दाना मसाले ते जूस सारे बिल जमा करने गैस ते इलेक्ट्रिक ने टॉप अप भी करने पाकिस्तान पैसे बिल्कुल फ्री भेजने मतलब के एक चिड़ी ने दूध छड़ी ता हर शय लबनी
उठा जने ने आप उतरा
Amal Food Store and Halal Meat, 613B Lincoln Road, Peterborough. Telephone 01733 687374.
Mumtaz Leeds, the majestic restaurant. Come and enjoy a dining experience like no other.
Mumtaz Leeds, one of the most beautiful and lavish restaurants in the UK. Free car parking for all customers.
And we're HMC certified.
Complimentary iftari for the whole month of Ramadan.
Mumtaz Leeds, the majestic restaurant.
Chadwick Street, Leeds, LS10 1PJ.
Call us on 01132 424 211.
Mumtaz Leeds, the majestic restaurant.
We look forward to seeing you soon.
I swear, some nights we go hungry, some nights we look for food in the garbage. These are the words of a 70-year-old man in Yemen. He is struggling to feed himself and his family. This Ramadan, Islamic Help are providing food packs to people in need around the world from only £35. To donate, call 0121 446 5682 or visit islamichelp.org.uk.
Choose XOXO Grill House for your iftar. With the tastiest perfectly prepared handmade gourmet burgers and the juiciest cuts of sizzling steak, plus mouth-watering starters, fajitas, delightful desserts, and XOXO's non-alcoholic mocktails. Throughout Ramadan, you'll receive complimentary fruit and dates, and you'll be helping to support the Children of Adam charity. Plus, you'll receive a warm and friendly welcome. XOXO, 17 King Street, Peterborough, PE1 1LT. Visit xoxogrillhouse.com or call 01733 561 483.
Do you own a restaurant or takeaway? Cater Fair is an expert supplier of new and used commercial catering equipment. Visit caterfair.co.uk for quality equipment on sale at the lowest prices, or call us on 01733 310 115 or visit us at 11 Royce Road, Fengate, Peterborough.
My name is Khalid Siddiq. I'm Saif Adam. Salaam alaikum, this is Baraka Blue.
Yo, this is your boy Harris J, and make sure you guys stay tuned
To Salaam Radio
106.2 FM.
You know what, yeah? I can't believe some people think it's so easy to get to paradise.
Yeah, this life is temporary.
Broadcasting 24 hours a day, 365 days a year. This is Salaam Radio.
Welcome back. This is Sukhi Wahiwala, your host today on the Empower Hour on Salaam Radio. Now, we have been having the one of the most wonderful I would say, humbling and very empowering conversations already today with our guest this morning, this evening, should I say, Manmeet Chowdhry. She is an independent individual who's gone through the darknesses of feeling that pain of ending her life, and then having realized that she has so much more to deliver. And today she has become what we call the beacon of light for others. She took a 2-day training, which then started her journey in creating her own philosophies within this arena. And she has an organization called Optimum Performance Solutions, and where she has a one-to-one working systems and has changed and spoken as an international speaker across the globe in front of hundreds, and has worked with thousands of individuals all over the world on a one-to-one basis and education within corporate and one-to-one companies. So I'm not going to hold you back much longer. I'm going to introduce Manmeet back in. Manmeet, welcome.
Thank you very much.
I'm not sure whether you realize, but this has been an amazing journey already. Thank you very much for being so open and hearted. But the second half, we take a different vein and a different area of thought process. Now, what is it like actually being able, what were the steps that you took internally to decide that enough's enough? I am going to take my life forward, and I'm going to. So those 2 days you had, were a lovely 2 days. You really got ignited with the internal self. How important is it when you have that self-awareness of yourself?
I think when you get the self-awareness, first of all, it is very much about taking responsibility, taking control. We always are in control if we perceive to choose we are, to actually think, because some people say, oh, well, I'm out of control, it's something outside of me.
Absolutely.
But the moment we understand the only person that can change us is us.
Wow.
I think that starts a completely different thought process in your mind. Completely in that moment you start to wonder, well, what else am I in control of then?
So the stimulus is basically, you're saying, to ensure that you could become bigger than what you are, to expand, to take that self-empowerment internally.
Yes.
To realize that maybe you're holding the key.
Yeah, absolutely. It's that self-governance. It's like I am governing my own self, my own mind, my own thoughts, the way that I can actually help myself move forward from that. That's where I took it from.
Help myself. I love that comment. It's so beautiful. So just a question to yourself, Manmeet. So you work with individuals, you work with organizations across the globe. What specifically do you help them with?
Well, I help them, with team culture, team engagement, but I think everybody has certain challenges that they go through, regardless of what they are, and sometimes they become the blocks to us moving forward in our life, and those blocks become invisible over time.
Yes, we have like a blind culture towards it.
Yes, absolutely. But I think the biggest learning for me, and what I've helped other people understand, is something called, it's a study of axiology. And it dates right back to ancient Greeks, and it's that study of axiology is about values and worth, and I like to reframe it a little bit by calling it priorities. And when people really understand, so
priorities are kind of like you said, values and worth. Yes.
Yeah. Okay. So the axiology is actually really the most important ology there is, but the least studied ology.
I respect that.
Yeah, interestingly enough. But the most important to understand human behavior. And I think when I help people understand a lot to do with what makes people tick, what makes you tick, where are you operating from on a subconscious level? Because we are, operating 95% of our, it's operating from the subconscious. And so what I do is I help them understand this very important study to understand themselves. I call it the GPS. And it's the Genius Priority System.
Genius Priority System. I love it.
And
tell us more.
Yes, so what this study of values and worth is that we all have a hierarchy of priorities and values. And Sukhi Viji, by values, what I do mean is not things like honesty and integrity, which most people do think values are. This is actually what is our tangible priority, and that's what our true values are. So it could be family, it could be business, it could be wealth creation, relationships. These are the actual tangible values and priorities we have. So the genius priority system is something that we have a hierarchy of what's most important right down to what's least important.
Got it.
And everything that is most important is where every single person's genius lies.
Wow.
So everything that we do on a day-to-day basis that is most important to us, what we spend our time on, what we spend our energy on, that's where all of us have a genius within us.
So just to frame, if anybody's listening and understanding where I'm coming from, so what would you classify as genius? What do you mean by genius?
So I would say a genius is somebody who's living by what's most important.
And now we're talking, aren't we? So a genius is somebody who is living and acting and believing upon what is most important to them.
Yeah, absolutely. So, for example, someone like Rose Kennedy, she was a genius at being a mum who actually her mission was to raise a family of world leaders. So she was a genius at being a mum who raised a family of world leaders.
Wow. That makes total sense now.
Yeah.
So now the GPS system. Yeah. And please, let's talk a little bit more about that, because I think, is it okay to mention that we studied together? I mean, you studied with myself. I have had a course which I delivered about 3 years, maybe 3.5 years ago now. Can't believe it's such a long time.
Yeah, a long time ago now.
Yeah. And in there, the key understanding is to know oneself. How important do you feel that is, and was any of that valuable?
Yeah, I mean, to understand, I think when you find out what your priorities are, right, that's what we're living our life, and they can change over time as well. But I think for example, I did the DISC training, with you.
The foundation of self, knowing oneself,
Yes, and really there was the aha moment of understanding why, we keep going back to certain behaviors as well. And, really getting to grips with how does that lay into my priorities as well.
Yeah.
Why am I operating from here in my profiling, from what we call the DISC profiling, and how does that link into my priorities? Because I do feel that they go very much hand in hand. I think you can understand that, we have all behaviors, but we're still going to go back to what's, really most important to us, which is our priorities, and we're going to operate in those priorities in a certain way too, which is, where your work comes in.
Yeah. So the GPS integrates with that. Is that right?
The GPS basically is only dealing with the priorities at the moment, and it's at the moment it just allows you to understand what yours is and what other people's are. The DISC profiling, I think, is a great addition onto that, to understand that when people are operating in their priorities, what kind of persona do they take on when they're doing that.
Love it. And obviously there's an internal element of that as well. So I love this whole journey. It's just this is brilliant. This is like, it's giving me a bit of a feeling in my back, thinking, yes, we've done it. This is absolutely spot on. It's really a pleasure having you here, Manmeet, as always. The depth of conversation it's what we're talking about right now is actually quite deep, but even though it's coming across quite open and quite easy to understand. So if I were just to pose a question to you, if somebody doesn't know their priorities, their values, and ultimately themselves, because obviously the Synergist method, which is what I talk about, which is incorporating part of DISC, we talk about the inner filtration of oneself and how they actually really truly see the outside world. If they don't have a handle on those things, then could it be correct in saying that the GPS is probably directing them, kind of causing stigma as opposed to stimulus?
Yeah, you see, the GPS is always driving us, right? It's there. That's why I kind of call it that, is because it's actually driving our life.
Yeah, connected sat nav,
Absolutely, GPS is driving your life, and when we don't understand how what we're driving, what's being driven by us, we're going to kind of, create self-sabotaging systems to get us back to what's most important. Right?
That's exactly the point. Thank you for answering that. Please carry on.
Yeah, so what we'll do is when we feel like we're not living in our highest priorities, we will create the amount of chaos we need. And I say co-create because it's not just created for us, and we don't just create it only. Co-create with the divine. We co-create the chaos needed to get back to what's most important. And the amount of chaos that we create is directly proportional to how much we feel our priorities are not being met.
Wow. So, in essence, am I correct in saying, please do correct me if I'm not, the further we go from ourselves, the more the self attempts to try to bring us back. Absolutely. And that within itself becomes deemed as a distraction or not a distraction. Is that correct?
Yes, absolutely. And, we bring in people that help us create that chaos to get back to us most true, authentic self. But you see, if we're not aware of who those people are, what role they're playing in our life, I call them stars of the universe.
And I'm sure they're very happy being called the stars.
Yes, absolutely. Because everybody we're interacting with, they're stars of the universe, helping us and guiding us like stars do to what is most important and to our most true, authentic self.
Wow, that is such a humble, encompassing, gratitude-filled energy that you've just shared there. Because individuals, that means basically if people are in your life who are identified as being destructive, people who are taking you away from your heart center, from your flow, from your understanding of self. Like, I don't like this, I like that. But they're actually there to help you, and they're helping you to understand what's not you. That's just so beautifully said. Do you know what? Wonderful. I am so proud to have you here today again, as always.
Thank you.
This is going to help an awful lot of individuals who are going to listen to this across the globe. This is Manmeet Chaudhry. We are now in the middle of discussing and talking about how an individual can gain their life strength back again. So, Manmeet, if I take it to a slightly different angle, I know you're very sought after. And I know you're playing yourself down. You're not just talking about philosophy, but you really do help a lot of people. And there's a whole queue of individuals that I understand who have worked with you, who have been assisted by you. So how do you actually help them? And how do you differentiate? Tell me a little bit and tell us all a little bit more about your optimum organization. What do you do? The performance. How do you achieve this in people, please?
So what happens is people tend to come to me not knowing what the issues are. So I work with a wide range of people.
I was going to say it's quite limitless. It is the head, right?
It's like the conversation we were having earlier. When you said, "Well, who is it you work with?" I was like, everyone. Yes. Even though so it could be anybody that's having problems dealing with losing a loved one, for example, losing a relationship. Losing money, business, any type of loss. And then there are people who, actually they feel like they are doing really well in life, but they just want to go to the next level and something's just stopping them from doing that. And I also have people, that are having some sort of relationship issues. And, a lot of these things I'm sharing with you, a lot of them I've gone through myself. So I do believe that whole putting your own oxygen mask on first before you can help other people. It's like, I know where they're coming from when they come to me, and I know where they've been.
Such a deep, valid point, because there's an unlimited number of individuals out there who help you with things that they've never experienced, and they haven't realized, because I can see that there's an element of blessing that's coming through from yourself, where you are so warm to accept challenge now in your life. And I wish this message is conveyed with every person who's listening today, that to realize that inner balance you were talking about earlier on is the key of acceptance, and it's the gratitude, the love. But I just want to ask you one deep question, if you don't mind. When I speak to individuals, and I know a lot of individuals have had what we call their earning potential just completely unlocked by you. Now, I know you have a problem with me saying you, because you realize it's the universe, and I fully subscribe to that. But for this moment, for the second, what have you found has been the top reason why individuals are not earning, why they're not finding the relation that they want, and why they're not performing within a relationship as a parent, as a husband, as a wife, as a son, as a daughter, as a friend in life? What do you think is the number one stimulus that you've been working with?
Oh, that's a big question. I don't know. Haven't got that much time now.
Oh, we'll make time.
Well, I think look, there's a couple of things in terms of when you talk about the earning potential. That really comes down to guilt.
Guilt?
Yep. So let me explain a little bit about what I've learned. So if we perceive we have done something to somebody in the past that in our perception we feel has caused them more pain than pleasure, more drawbacks than benefits, just basically one-sidedness in terms of more pain. That's it. We've caused them a lot more pain than I should have.
So you've hurt them.
Yeah, we've hurt them. Well, they chose to do hurt because that's the feeling that they've obviously created. But we've done something to them, and what happens is we hold on to that. It doesn't matter how small or how big that guilt is, but the moment we hold on to that through our life, what happens in the present, because of that, we overcompensate. And we don't feel worthy of receiving, so it diminishes our self-worth.
Wow, what an amazing outlook.
And when we diminish our self-worth, so any money that comes to us, we straight away like, no, we're not worthy of receiving things, because our subconscious is going, no, you caused somebody, that pain in the past, so give it out to, just basically, you're either giving it out by paying for stupid things, like, you're buying all this stuff that, you just want to basically spend money, okay, because you don't feel worthy of keeping it.
We call it financial aikido.
Yeah, yes, exactly. So but that's when it comes in. The other one, as you said rightly, is what about when people don't even have it coming in? That's the same thing. We don't feel worthy of receiving. So what we do is we let the universe know that we're not worthy of receiving because of what we've done in the past. So don't send us any money.
Oh my goodness.
And what I've found is 100% of the time, anytime I've helped somebody remove that guilt, either their sales go up, if they're working in a job or even in their business, their income goes up. And when I work with property investors, their investment goes up.
Oh, wow.
It's just such a correlation that people don't make in the worthiness of creating wealth.
Wow.
Guilt is the number one block for feeling that worthiness of receiving and creating wealth.
Yeah, this is just amazing. Now, I'm a secret admirer, as a brother, of your work, and I think you have a brilliant Wisdom Wednesday. It's something that we use as well, but you use a Wisdom Wednesday as a title. And I can remember about a week or 10 days, maybe even 2 weeks ago, you were talking about how an individual who was in property had a challenge with an investment that was not paying out.
That's right.
So please tell me, because you just adjusted this one thing. Obviously, it's not simple. It takes a lot of one-to-one time with you. It takes time. But what happened?
So they had it was actually a couple. They had property project that needed completing, and the investor money was held up for about 18 months. And the moment we actually helped them balance that, because what happened is, as a result of that property the funds not coming from this investor, they borrowed from other people to try and make some. So
try and bridge the gap.
Yeah, and there was a lot of guilt there for having to not be able to pay these people back on time, who were friends and family, etc. The moment we, basically took them through the process to dissolve that guilt, I had a lovely voice note, from the husband, who said, well, the money started coming in, really interestingly enough. And it's, and when I say 100% of the time, having worked with another business owner, he had guilt about having lied about something when he was a little kid,
Wow. So you can go back that far.
Yes, because they know what they're holding on guilt about. The moment we dissolve that, his income in his business and sales, while we were on the call, he actually, after he got off the call, he checked. It was in that call, he had online sales that were, so much more than his business has ever made. Because all that's happened is we just see how we are also a star of the universe.
Wow.
Helping other people and guiding them gets what's most important, and there's nothing to feel guilty about. And in that moment, we just feel worthy of receiving again, and our self-worth just goes back up.
this, I think we don't want to be missing what's actually been shared here. Manmeet has just condensed something in such a bunch of, a sequence of beautiful, simple, concentrated words. The reality is that in every misinterpretation, is this what you're saying, that in every misinterpretation, everything that's holding you back, somewhere inside your body, inside your mind, inside the body, the soul, you're holding on to a stigma attached to having not helped somebody? Is that correct?
Yeah, absolutely.
Or
and as we
possibly
know,
done wrong by somebody.
Yeah. And
This
look,
is beautiful.
and whether it be, in Islam, in Sikhism, or any other religions, like, we are taught nothing happens without the will of the divine, no matter what you call the divine, and so if specific action that we are to do is not meant to be, it would have gone out extinct.
Very true.
So if we're doing something for somebody, we might perceive we're not helping them, but actually if we just ask, how did we help them, how did we guide them to what was important to them, you'll start to see that you're just playing a little piece in this whole matrix that we call the universe.
God bless you. Do you know that, again, you can see, I'm not sure whether you understand, but there's a dripping, an aura of humility that's coming across here. So wonderful. And I really love the way you accept your position within the aura as well. So learning by accepting, realization of other people's journey, respecting of that journey as well, and realization. If anybody here is thinking today and trying to work out what they've got stuck in their life, maybe they should just reach out with Manmeet. And this is not a sales tool or a sales process, but I genuinely believe in connecting people for the right reasons, much the same as she had a journey in her life that was, she had a dark moment. She's here as the beacon of light for many others around the world and around the globe. So don't feel frightened of connecting and communicating. I can see, if I can say a quick hi out to Savan Goswami. I think maybe he's probably either Manmeet's friend or our friend. Thank you very much, Manmeet. He's saying a great and amazing interview. And it says, the amazing Manmeet Kaur. And with the awesome Sukhi Wahiwala, thank you very much. Parvinder, my wife Parvinder, great interview, Sukhi and Manmeet, truly inspiring. So many gems of wisdom being shared today with love. And this is just wonderful to hear, isn't it? Again, Akil Mahmood, just thought I'd give you a quick shout out, so hey, hi. And this is basically another one saying, so inspiring, Manmeet.
Oh.
Brilliant. And this is
that was
the
our
touch.
intention.
Yeah, this is the touch, this is the connection we have on people. You know what, if you're having a dark moment, reach out. This is what this is all about. Now, we're not suggesting that we're a call helpline, not at all. This is basically if you're ready to take charge of your life and you think, okay, I want to attend and be somewhere around the right people. Manmeet, you are very revered in the industry for having open events. Do you have one coming up soon?
I'm going to have one coming up in July.
In July? Okay.
Yep, the date's still being confirmed. But I will be posting it on my website. And, so as you mentioned, the Wisdom Wednesday for now as well. I post that, on social media. That, Sukhi Viji, my Wisdom Wednesdays that I send, if I can just take a second as to why I started my Wisdom Wednesdays.
Please do.
I have so many people that I've connected throughout my life. And I started my Wisdom Wednesdays in the hope that even if somebody never, ever works with me, they have some sort of wisdom that I've been able to touch them with.
Wow. So it's in a context of true sevas, true tithing, true zakat, charity, and assisting other people just by giving your thoughts away, right? Just
giving them away, yeah. And sometimes I share my own thoughts, sometimes I share who I've worked with. And, I don't have a set time. I send them or post them on a Wednesday. But because they go internationally, I will have people come back and go, I just really needed to hear that right now.
And that's amazing because obviously the timeline, you could be posting out here at 6 o'clock in the morning and it could be 12 o'clock at night in Australia.
Yeah.
Oh, wow.
So that's the Wisdom Wednesdays. I do, I'm on social media as well.
How can anybody get hold of you, please?
So on my Instagram, you can follow me on Optimum Performance Solutions.
Can you just spell that for everybody so they got it?
Yeah, it's OPTIMUM, Optimum and performance, PERFORMANCE, and solutions.
Great. I can't believe we've come to the end of the show so quickly. Optimum Performance. And if they wanted to get in touch with you from the
my website is Optimum Performance Solutions, same spelling, .com. And they can contact me then.
It's that easy. I don't know whether you've thoroughly enjoyed yourself in sharing.
Oh, I really have. I can't believe it's gone so quick.
I was going to say, I told you it would go really quickly, Manmeet, didn't I? You know, honestly, it's a pleasure. It's a pleasure from myself to have interviewed such a powerful titan. May you continue to grow and touch the lives of others and create that inner ignition and change within themselves of self-gratitude and understanding, and take that pain back, Manmeet Kaur.
Thank you, and I am absolutely humbled that I'm being interviewed by my dear brother. So thank you so much for having me on the show, Sukhi Biji.
Pleasure on our end. So while we say bye to Manmeet, we're going to say bye-bye for one more week, and we'll see you again next Tuesday, the 4th of June, at our usual time, I believe, between 7 and 8.
You're listening to Salaam Radio, and it's now time for Asr Azan.